Quora post by an anonymous person. Question. Is there anyone here who hates Brahma Kumari organization? Answer. Brahma Kumaris BK is a dangerous brainwashing cult, and if your loved ones are engaged, prepare to lose them forever if you cannot get them out of it completely. Hate to see it happen, but if you do not take any action, unfortunately I told you so, and I hope no one has to feel this way. Please see the below for a brief but detailed summary of what to expect from this organization. I have lost 2 family members to BKs. BK is an organization that was started by a businessman who eventually disappeared with millions of rupee, who did not follow the rulings of his own religion. Specifically, targeting weak and vulnerable, it started with a following of women or widows who would eventually, after years of adherence and devotional belief, in the name of God, they give their time, wealth and assets to the organization. Welcome to do your own research. On initial looks, it seems like harmless teachings. All positive thoughts, meditation, etc. But this is far from the truth. You may feel it's all harmless if you have just a slight interest. But if you become devoted or look at this regularly, then you will fall victim to their beliefs. The process. Generally, someone is weak, vulnerable, possibly suffering from mental health, or is looking for some form of motivation, inspiration to help them with their lives. Predominantly women, or widows, but can be anyone. They come across BK and spark an interest and become more and more engaged, as they believe it helps them. Signs to look out for. 1. They start daily meditation at abnormal times. It is so told to do at 4 a.m. Reason they tell to do so. As you will have a better connection with God. But this is intentionally done as you are at your weakest and leads to sleep deprivation, which becomes a massive reason for bad mental health and to enhance vulnerabilities. 2. Dressing in all white. 3. Only eating food cooked by themselves or another BK member, or drastically changing food habits. 4. Celibacy. No natural sexual acts, behaviors including kissing and or change in relationships, especially between husbands. Although devoted BK members seems peaceful and looks spread positivity, there is something weird about them. Lack of connection or relationship. And they look almost robotized, with lack of normal human emotion. 1. Reading Murlis. Their religious daily reading, scripts. Daily throughout the day. It is done for training your brain for BK beliefs. 2. An inability to have an open mind or believe anything different to what is learned via BK. 3. They will try to spread their teachings to others, especially those closest to them. If the above starts to happen, they are already in the process of losing themselves and become reliant on the teaching to live their daily lives, and will go against anything that could dispute this. The problem exists within their Murlis, video calls and teachings in person at the centers. As mentioned, the teachings may appear to be harmless. But they tell, to be able to read between the lines or identify the underlying messages, you need to become devoted to really understand. But what it actually does is it brainwashes you. Factually incorrect teachings have been found in the Murlis many times. However, they have been continually rewritten by BK over the years to take out anything that can be proven wrong. For example, approximately every 30 years they believe the world will end, last one being in 2012, and when this doesn't happen, they push it forward another few years, and have done so several times. The current belief is now somewhere in the 2030s the world will end. Some of the underlying beliefs. This world is temporary and restarts every 5,000 years. So people stop living their lives and helping their own family with finances, health or anything. It makes you believe you have a higher spiritual connection than anyone who is not BK follower. And have the ability to connect with the afterlife and God. Also believe any sexual contact is a sin. However, the human race will become non-existent if that was the case, and then there wouldn't be any BK followers. Even the founder of the religion was not celibate himself. When you are mentally weak and looking for something to help you with difficulties in your life, as a cult, they take everything off you. Once you have been engaged for a while, you volunteer and work for free for the organization, taking your physical aspects of your life. And lastly, they take everything financially. You will never see it written, or ever hear someone ask you for money. However, via the long-term messages in the scriptures, they put you into a place where, in the name of God, you will give your inheritances, assets or money to the organization. And it does works because the members believe the world is temporary. The organization generates no income or asks for any money, yet the founder was a millionaire businessman and they have large properties in all the major cities in the world. Majority of high senior leaders and members of the organization do not work or earn income in their lives, but their personal lives are built from the wealth of donations. Those that have been brainwashed are put into a position where they would want to proactively give their wealth to the organization. My mother joined BK around the year 2000. Around the age of 30, after facing difficulties with her young marriage, giving birth to her kids, and financial issues. She then joined BK to help with the problems she was having in her life, however this did the opposite. She practiced for years, but kept it to herself, and would rarely speak openly about what she was doing, as it caused issues with her husband. Therefore, she got deeply involved, waking up every day at 4 a.m. to pray, and then reviewing the thoughts hourly, every day, to help retain. This is what is taught and leads to brainwashing. But at the same time tried to live the rest of her life normally to hide it. Over time she put herself in such a position and started to believe she was previously one of the founder of BK, and this theory was supported by senior members of BK to encourage her. She started to believe that she was not the mother of the 3 children she had, which she was. And stopped being a wife to her husband, and become his sister. She also believed she could communicate with ghosts, the afterlife, but had a direct connection with Baba, which is their version of God and the founder of the cult. This God was telling my mother, via their spiritual connection through meditation, that all her family and friends and work colleagues, every single person she knew including her parents, siblings and her children were spying and conspiring against her from a specific location. Regardless of undeniable evidence which could easily disprove her theory, such as CCTV, locations, or things that are physically impossible. She wasn't open to anything as she felt this was true from God. My father got ill due to stress about the marriage and several unexplained diseases, and this led to his death last year. After his passing and once my mother had received his inheritance and the house, potentially being encouraged to leave all to her and nothing for the children, she started accusing everyone around her, every individual she knew of being in this conspiracy, isolated herself, cut off all communication. When this happened, we managed to get her to see health professionals and a psychiatrist, who diagnosed her with psychosis immediately due to her wild beliefs from BK. However, any professional help could only be done with her consent, and after being diagnosed, she withdrew and also accused the health professionals of conspiring against her, so they were unable to intervene further. And how could we know that this is just the case of one individual with mental issues, and it is not the influence of BK brainwashing? Apart from being able to find hundreds of similar stories online, it is because my brother also found himself in a mentally vulnerable position after adhering BK for a few years. He was groomed by my more experienced mother, and also believed the conspiracy, because he believed everything she said. He also cut off all communication from everyone, but we were unable to get him assessed by a health professional. If this happens to anyone you know, the NHS or any health professional will not be able to assist you due to restrictions with the law. These types of beliefs fall into a gray area, and therefore it is common to allow people to live like this, without any help from the NHS, government or lawyers. You will be on your own, while trying to fix it. If you do not intervene at the first occasion of any incident of interaction with BK and restrict them completely. They are currently living off my father's inheritance together, and have restricted any inheritance from non-BK, including her 2 other sons. This was my father's intention to support all 3 children. However, was not stipulated in the will, and as it is in my mother's name, all the inheritance is now only being used by them and BK members, and not to any who do not believe in BK, even if her children, her siblings or parents. Whatever is it that you or someone close to you can get from BK, from a positive aspect, look for a different source. Our widespread family has been devastated by this, and completely restricted to help, as it's not seen as clear exploitation, but more so religious beliefs to those that do not understand what BK truly is all about. Do everything in your power to completely avoid anything to do with the organization. Regardless of how harmless it may seem at the beginning, it's just the start. I have written this to protect others about the harm following Brahma Kumaris will bring to you and your family.